Welcome, everybody, into Stick Drift, episode 16. Randy, how you doing today?
I certainly am today.
Hell yeah, that's about the best we can hope for right now, I bet.
Yep.
But welcome in, everybody. Hope you guys have been enjoying all the content. I know we've been talking for a couple weeks about some other short form content and some Twitch streams. We're still working out everything that we want to get done with them, so they will be coming eventually. We swear, and we're still trying to get the Final Fantasy 14 stream set up. We'll get that in the future. I'll do
Eventually, at some point.
I'll log in. I'll log in. It's difficult.
I'll pay for like 6 months before we get there.
Oh my god, that's a fair point. Fuck. All right. Heard. That'll get me to do it quicker. But today we are going to be talking about Halo Campaign Evolved. It just came out on the 28th. We are recording this on August 1st. And this will be released on August 3rd. So kind of.
And we both surprisingly haven't finished it yet.
Yeah. I was so confused with what Nick was doing because for weeks we were talking about jumping into it on its release day on that Tuesday, and we made a joke because he was on vacation until the Monday night, and I had joked with him. I was like, "Dude, you should just take off all of Tuesday." And he's like, "I'll do it," and I was like, "No, you won't." He's like, "I'll take off Tuesday." So then he took off Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh shit, are we jumping into this at 11?" And he was like, "No, I'm helping my sister move all day," and I was like, "Shit."
Yeah.
Because I thought
we were weirdly for me it was the day before I had nothing to play at all, and I was like, yeah, I got nothing tomorrow or any like coming out or anything. I'll play. I just want to play Campaign Evolved. I'll do that. And like the day before I was really bored, and so I was like, the next update, as I'll be talking about shortly, Dragon's Dogma 2 is in the end of August, but so is Stalker 2, and like their DLC comes out, so I want to play that around the same time. So I'll just like start another Dragon's Dogma 2 playthrough now and like get caught up. And then I started playing it, and I started having a ton of fucking fun again. So like the next day I was like, I kind of just want to keep playing Dragon's Dogma.
Totally understandable. That's why it's like it's so hard to like when I know a big game is coming out. Like I wouldn't consider Campaign Evolved like a massive game. Like we knew what it was. It was like 10, 13 hours. But I was like, shit, what do I do? Like I kind of like I started Plague Tale Innocence, and I played it one night. I played it for 2 hours, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I can't wait to get back to it. Haven't touched it.
Yeah.
And I know that I won't until Campaign Evolved is done.
But, and surprisingly, I didn't even buy Campaign Evolved. I just got a month of Game Pass, which I normally like never do. But Campaign Evolved, there was a game called Mistfall Hunter. It was like a PvP game that I wanted to try that came to Game Pass, and then Beast of Reincarnation is going to be on Game Pass, and I was like, for 1 month, dude, I can't not just, instead of buying 3 games, I can't not just do that. Yeah.
Did you jump into Mistfall?
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you have some thoughts, I'd like to hear it. But if you don't have them collected, we can. Okay. Because I'm actually pretty interested in that game, but only because my friend brought it up and he was like, "Yeah, I haven't heard great things about it, but it looked interesting, so I want to try it." And I was like, I didn't even hear about it and saw the ad on the Game Pass thing. Same with Beast of Reincarnation. That's like my most anticipated for the year. So
yeah, I wanted to buy that, but now I'm like, I have the month of Game Pass. Do I just play it there? Like,
yeah, that's the rough thing with me because like obviously I don't buy a ton of games. That's why I do Game Pass and PlayStation Plus and all that stuff. So I'm not buying games left and right. But Beast of Reincarnation is probably one of those games that like kind of like Clair Obscur, where I'm gonna play it on Game Pass, and if I love it as much as I think I'm going to, I'll look into other options. Whether I is there a physical edition of this game at all? Like I feel like I was gonna say I feel like this one might not even get it where everything's at.
Yeah. And that's kind of hard for me as somebody who plays on PC where there isn't really physical editions at all. So it's like, yeah, if I play it on Game Pass, probably not buying it unless I see it like on sale years later or something like that and want to play it again. Like,
very true.
For some games, I just buy on physical. I bought Splatoon Raiders physical.
Oh shit! Have you played that one?
Yeah, that's really fucking fun,
dude. I've heard good things. I haven't been the Splatoon guy. It's not one I would pick up right now, but if I have a friend that has it and I give it a shot and I'm like, damn, that's really fun, then I might give it a shot. But
yeah, it's not like the other Splatoons. It's not PvP at all. It's only single player. Well, there is some co-op online, but like it's co-op. It's a looter shooter. I didn't know that. I thought it was like a survival crafting game for like most of the announcements for some reason. And then I like saw like a review and I was like, wait, this looks fucking fun, and it is.
Hell yeah! All right, well that's good to know.
Yeah,
and Nintendo's still putting out some good games this year. Slow and in between, but they still got the bangers.
Yeah.
All right, but before we jump into Halo Campaign Evolved, we have just a little bit to talk about in the spotlight segment that we always like doing. You already mentioned that you were going to talk about Dragon's Dogma 2. Did you want to start with that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so basically, I don't know if who has played Dragon's Dogma 2. I know you haven't. You haven't played any of the the other Dragon's Dogma game. There was
Mm-hmm.
technically an MMO as well, but I think that was only in like Japan and then got shut down or something. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's a really cool game. I think I want to describe the second one specifically as like a flawed masterpiece because there are some very cool ideas and things in there. But much like the first one, so when the first one was coming out, Capcom didn't really believe in open world games at all, so they didn't give it funding or time or anything like that, and it showed. Then it had a Dark Arisen expansion that was directed by like a different person that didn't have as many, I think, of the like unique ideas the original guy had, but it brought it up to a very, very good RPG. And kind of similarly with the second one, where you could tell that he had some more really cool ideas, and then ran out of funding again. And so the second half of the game is very flawed. There's like not a lot of enemy variety. It's a lot of like, technically, I think there's like 30 to 50 enemies, something like that in there. But a lot of them are like, hey, it's goblins and then hobgoblins and then another type of goblin. And it's like different armors and so it's.
I was like very much like just same enemy changing skins kind of thing.
Yeah. So there's not that many. The combat is amazing though. It's just when you get to the second half and you're like, oh, you're going to a new like region. You expect there to be very different enemies, and it's like now instead of cyclopses, it's ogres, but it's a cyclops. Like it's the same thing, and it's all right. Like,
yeah,
it's annoying in that aspect of this could have been so great if they hadn't like rushed the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But it just has a lot of ideas. I don't want to spoil things story wise that like because I think you said you were going to be playing it.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of
soon, for
ideas
sure.
in there that are really cool. I think I'll talk about if you haven't, anybody knows a YouTuber named Punk Duck. He's not a very big one, but he put out like a whole thing on it, and it was really funny watching that because the game came out and it had mixed reviews, and I think it still does overall. A lot of that is because of performance problems, but on top of that, the other flaws with the game. But it was funny watching that he put that video out because it explained some things in the story that I think went over a lot of people's heads. One of the complaints that people had were, hey, this is the first game again. And that was intentional. It very much is the first game again. Like, it's not the exact same plot, different characters, different locations and everything, but if you played the first game, you'll notice like I'm kind of doing very similar things in like the same order as in the first game. And one of the things that he was saying the director was saying when he was making the game was that he wanted this to be like a redo of the first game. And he kind of did, because the game's plot like kind of works on cycles. Things start over again. And so you'll notice when you're playing through Dragon's Dogma 2 that there is never a 2 in the title screen at all. It just says Dragon's Dogma until you get like the true ending of the game, which means you like beat the final boss and then go back and do it again, but kind of weirdly. You don't have to play the game twice. It just reloads like right there. But you have to do something different the second time, and I'm not going to spoil things, but you'll then see it loads the title screen and says Dragon's Dogma 2. And
interesting.
You're like, wait, that's interesting. So then it opens up into an end game, quote unquote, where basically something changes the world. And you'll notice if you took the first game's map and overlaid it, the new end game area map very much is the first game's map, where a lot of things line up pretty perfectly. And it's you'll see like where you start the first game and the second game actually start in the exact same spot if the maps are overlaid. And it's almost like one map was built on top of the other. Like the second game was built on top of the first game's world, but like maybe thousands of years later, things were terraformed and changed or whatever. And you're noticing that, wait, this was just part of the cycle again. It was the first game story. They did a remake of the first game, and then when you get the ending of the end game of the second game, you technically progressed the story, and it is also the second game. They did both a remake and a sequel in one game. And it was funny watching Punk Duck put that video out because he explained all of that, and you're like, wait, that makes so much fucking sense. And then you just saw the reviews on Steam, like started going like, wait a minute, hold on, I misunderstood everything. This is great.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Put it in retrospective, you know?
Yeah,
That
and
is so
it's
bizarre.
there's a lot of missable things that are really cool. There's a lot of cool mechanics that just are something you wouldn't think about. Uh, there's a guy who can duplicate items. He makes forgeries of them, an NPC. And you can use it in a lot of ways. Like there's a jail key, and you could buy like makeshift ones that break after one use to break into like a door or something. Or there's one quest where they give you one that doesn't break after one use, but the guy asks for it back after. You can actually go and make a forgery of that before giving it back to him and completing the quest, and then you just have an unbreakable one for the rest of the game. Or there's like these collectibles called seeker tokens that can be used for upgrades. And late into the game, if you want to, you could find this like hidden area that's like 3 different dungeons that leads to a sphinx with a riddle for you. And like it's so hidden on the map. Uh, and then you're going through all the riddles, and then there's like 300 something of those seeker tokens. And the last riddle that the sphinx asked you is, where did you find your first seeker token? And if you don't know that they're going to ask you this beforehand, you're not fucking getting it because it changes for everybody.
Right.
So it's like it's not you can just Google it or anything. And you have 7 in-game days to go back to the location that had your first seeker token, and there'll be something called the finder's token. And and then you can go complete that riddle. But one of the things that he mentioned a way around that was this game has a cool system with the NPCs in your party called pawns. You make a custom one. And you can hire other people's online. They might have quests with them that can give you rewards, and uh, or like somebody hires your pawn and then comes back to you and is like, "Hey, when I was in another world, I know that I found a chest around here. When I was following this guy, I can show you where it is," and they'll lead you to stuff like that. There's a lot of cool stuff with the pawn system. It's amazing. But one of the things that happens is you can give a gift when you send the pawn back to the actual person who made it. And so what Punk Duck was saying he did was he found his seekers or his finder's token, went to the forgery guy, made a forgery of his finder's token, hired his friend's pawn, uh, gave his friend's pawn the finder's token as a gift, sent it back to his game, and his friend never needed to figure out where his thing is. It just worked.
That's nuts.
It's
That's
insane.
so crazy. I love when games have systems like that. Like I hear I hate I know you were telling me a lot about the pawn system, and that just sounds so damn
It's
cool to mess
so
around
cool.
with.
There's so many things with it too. It's awesome. And they can
The
also technically
combat
catch a disease to start like disobeying you and stuff. So you have to be careful of hiring them. If you notice that you hire one with red eyes, get it the fuck out of there. Like,
that's actually crazy.
yeah,
So much of this game looked so cool. The combat looked incredible. Like I remember seeing trailers and stuff of the gameplay before it came out, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is
combat's
absolutely
awesome.
something I want to
It's
jump
really
into."
good.
So then, really quick, then, just because I was a little confused of it again, due to either just naming conventions, whatever the hell it is. Can you explain to me what Dragon's Dogma 2 Dark Arisen is? It's an expansion that I have to
Yes,
buy, like a DLC.
yes. I think they said there's going to be like 25 to 35 hours of like main story content in that. So
Okay.
it's a good size like DLC. It's like it's not, yeah. That's
And
just main story stuff. There's going to be end game stuff as well involved with that, like gear hunting and
hell
dungeons
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
And based on what they've said, again, I can only ask you so much because whatever you know that has been said. But does this revamp the base game at all? Like, is there any
Not
reason for me to
much.
hold off? Okay,
Not much. The only thing that might change with that, I don't know if it's like a thing you have to unlock or not, but there is for each vocation, which is just like a class, and you could swap classes on the fly and level them up, whatever, it doesn't matter. Uh,
okay,
but they said with each class, they're upping the maximum amount of skills from 4 to 6. So you can have 6 equipped skills at any given time, and they're adding additional skills for each class. Um,
okay.
so I don't know if that you would have that when the game starts, like just immediately as long as you have the expansion, or
I
if
see.
it's something once you get to the expansion area. But that's like the only base game change I think they're potentially making.
Okay, hell yeah. Well, when does that come out? Do you know offhand? Because it's soon, right?
October? It's October. I know that.
Okay,
And then there
interesting.
is an update coming
Jesus
out in like
Christ.
2 or 3 weeks that's going to change like a good amount of stuff. I think it's mostly performance and like quality of life enhancements and things. Nothing that would completely overhaul a normal playthrough, but just stuff that if you're having problems running it or like just you had issues with some certain systems, things are going to get tweaked. And I know they're doing quite a bit in that. So I would say wait until that update if you want to do at least just the base game, but you don't necessarily need to wait for the DLC to come out.
Okay, yeah. And so the date of that is October 9th. That's awesome. Obviously, the back half of this year is packed
Stacked.
to hell.
Yeah.
So This is one that I think I would make time for, just playing in between things, because this one looked awesome, and this is one that I've been interested in for a while. So
Mm.
I'll probably between now and then. I mean, because again, I don't think there's anything super major that I'm like really interested in aside from Beast of Reincarnation and Halo Campaign Evolved now until the middle of September.
I'm
So
doing I'm doing I know at the end near the end of August, Stalker 2 has a 2.0 update that's free for everybody who has the game, and then a Clear Skies, or maybe Clear Skies, whatever it is, an expansion coming out as well. So I definitely want to give that game another shot.
okay,
Because last time I tried that, my PC couldn't run it, and it was kind of buggy and like had like a good amount of issues. And I was like, I'll wait for updates. And so now that my PC can run it, and they're doing those updates, I think it's time.
because I was gonna say like your PC not being able to run it wasn't really your PC. It was like the game just was hard to
a
run.
little. It was a
A
little of
little of
both.
both.
It is
Okay,
definitely hard to run, but the computer that I had at the time was also a little outdated. So it was like,
gotcha.
yeah,
Okay, yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on Stalker 2 because that's a game that looks so cool, and even I jumped into to give it a shot, but is just so not my game that like I
yeah,
played it for like 2 hours and it was immediate where I was like, I know this isn't for me,
yeah.
so I backed out of it. But I'm very interested to hear more about that. But hell yeah, so Dragon's Dogma 2, absolutely something I'm going to be jumping into. Like I said, October 9th for Dark Arisen for everyone who's super hyped about that. Oh yeah. The only I have two things I can talk about. I kind of forgot about one. I'm just gonna make a note of it. I so the day that we recorded the last podcast, I talked about Hellblade. Finished recording the podcast and jumped into Hellblade 2 and finished Hellblade 2 that day. It
Oh
was
goddamn.
such a short game. I'll just talk like a quick little snippet of it because I know I talked about Hellblade last week. Basically, to sum it up, it's a slow walking simulator. It's beautiful and it's very artsy. If that's your kind of thing, Hellblade is so a game to jump into, especially if you have Game Pass. Like I feel like there's enough there that's very interesting and well done that you could be like, oh, even if I didn't love the game, because I didn't, there was enough where I was like, I want to jump into the sequel and give it a shot. The sequel, however, had really good points and really bad points. I think the combat was way weaker in the sequel. I like for a lack of boss fights because I thought the first one's boss fights were actually really cool. Um, Again, for a game that didn't have combat that really stood out, I was shocked to find so many boss fights with cool mechanics that really jumped out to me. But jumping into Hellblade 2's combat, I didn't feel like it was as smooth. Like I felt like the parries felt way worse. That may have been me. I'm not great all the time, but I feel like there was just something about it that didn't feel as good. There were less boss fights, so less cool mechanics. I think this game looked better. Like visually, this game looked more beautiful. Of course, not that Hellblade was an old game. I think that was 2020 or 2019, somewhere around there. Hellblade 2 was 2024. But I think the setting of this game helps it. What also helps the story of this game that I found more interesting and better is there are other characters, like actual other people that you're talking to instead of just the psychosis going on and dealing with like all of the inner workings of your mind. This one did have characters to latch onto and a pretty good story for such a short game that like it's not a 10 out of 10
Mhm.
story. Even I would still, by the end of this game, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 because again, I think what it does artistically is very good, but from an actual gameplay sense, I'm like, okay, when is this going to be done?
Yeah.
Kind of like how I felt about the first one. So I'm interested to know what other people think about this game. If you're really into it, this definitely still gives me hope for Senua, because if Ninja Theory does, I think they bought back their independence. I forget which of the studios did that from Xbox versus which ones are still connected to Xbox. So I will look into that because that may have been wrong. But either way, I just hope that Ninja Theory gets things together enough to keep doing what they're doing. Because if they hone in on the combat side of things and they make a really cool looking game with a really great setting, this could be a really good place for them to be jumping off of. But that was Hellblade 2. Like I said, I finished it in the same day. But the other game that I finished that I was going to talk briefly about, series that we've been talking about the entire podcast so far, I finished Trails to Azure, which is the fifth one in the series. Um, it is the second of the Crossbell games, and the next one I have to jump into is Trails of Cold Steel, which I've played before. So this was like the last of the games that I needed to have the background information of what I accidentally played with Cold Steel first. So it's really cool to know certain things and to be playing these games that are taking place the same time as Cold Steel. And I'm like, oh, I know what's going on here elsewhere.
Yeah.
So really well done. Trails to Azure was definitely the longest of the series so far. It felt like there's so much exposition happening and so many cutscenes, so much dialogue, but like so like this felt like One Piece with the Reverie. That's what this like. It feels like everything is culminating to this moment where you're like, oh, all of the important people are here. Something big is about to happen, and then like the rest of the game is just the fallout of these things happening. So
Yeah.
it was a really crazy story. Again, gameplay wise, it's still no different than the other games, so I really enjoyed that. Uh, when I started the finale, I always do like I'm streaming the series, so it's one of those things where I always jump in and I'm like, all right, finale time, and I always put in the title like I'm aware of how these games are, so I'm like finale part 1 of 3, and the person in my chat, in my Twitch chat usually who pops in who knows the games well, he was like that's a little bold there, and I'm like 3 streams, a little bold. He's like 6 at least. He made a joke. He was like, the finale of this game is as long as the entire Trails in the Sky first game, and I'm like, there's no way. And he was pretty close. It was a long ass finale. It's a little exaggerated, but it was long. So there was just so much to wrap up, and this game, the Crossbell games definitely sit on a high pedestal with the fans, and I absolutely see why. I love the Sky trilogy that I played, but I think the Crossbell like games really hit home harder. I really enjoyed these. So looking forward to jumping into Cold Steel and Cold Steel 2, getting to replay them, and then finally getting again to new content with Cold Steel 3 when I eventually get there. But still, top series, just an absolute goated series that I cannot wait to get caught up on. That way I can officially say it's a goated series and know what I'm talking about.
Have people take you seriously.
Exactly. But that's it for Trails to Azure. Like I said, I don't want to spoil anything, so it's kind of hard to get into details with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that's mostly what I've been playing. Ray, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we jump into the main topic then?
Not particularly, no.
All right. So I want to jump in with you first because I know you like right before recording the podcast you were playing it. So just a little bit
Yes.
fresher in your mind compared to the 2 days ago that I played it. But Halo Campaign Evolved. We are both just so that everyone knows where we're at with it, because you guys know our history with Halo at this point. We've played pretty much every one of them extensively. We've been playing for years and years since our childhood. So we're big Halo fans. And for this game in particular, we are both at the end of Assault on the Control Room. I finished it, and you're just kind of at the end of it,
About
you
to be
said?
there, yeah.
Okay. So I want to hear your thoughts so far. Just kind of just run through whatever you got. What's your take on this remake so far? So far
Okay.
is important.
I do want to preface this by saying, like, it's combat evolved. So it could only be so much better or so much worse than combat evolved could be. And
Yes.
combat evolved is already great. Uh I do think this is so far the weakest version of combat evolved. I think the cutscenes are weird. They added a lot of unnecessary dialogue to things. Like, okay, so I'll give an example of cutscene wise. The introduction for Sergeant Johnson. Uh, they changed some weird things about it. In the original, he's uh all the troops are like running out, and he's like, "Oh, for all you greenhorns who wanted to like, I don't know, fight the Covenant or whatever the hell he says." It's like, "Today's your lucky day." And in the remake, it first of all does like an intro, like zoom in on his back, and he turns around like a superhero or something, like a you know who he is already, and
Yeah.
it feels, I don't know, it feels a little weird. And they're doing that scene with like for all you greenhorns, yada yada, and everybody runs past him, and he turns around and whispers to nobody, "Today's your lucky day." And it's like, who the fuck are you talking to? Like, why would you why would you do that? This was pointed out, and I'm probably going to quote this review a lot. Skill Up did a review of this. He pointed that out, a couple other cutscene comparisons and things, and it was just feels like directorially very amateurish. You changed things
Okay.
unnecessarily, and it just doesn't, like, even in a vacuum, it just doesn't make sense. I think one of the biggest points that he had made with this was in the prequel missions. For some reason, Chief and Johnson do a lot of like buddy cop back and forth joking with each other. And then you go into the mission Halo where Johnson actually shows up and he's calling Chief Sir and like being very like more formal with him and everything. And it's like, how do you go from
From
best
point A to
friend,
point
buddy,
B.
buddy to then in the future, all of a sudden you
Mhm.
don't know each other? It doesn't
Yeah.
make any fucking sense. Um,
I
yeah, there's that. There's like a couple of like
I
more.
I like that you were bringing up the cutscene stuff because this is blasphemy here, but I have to admit it. For as many times as I've played the Halo campaigns and played the missions back to back, like hundreds of times, I have no idea what the story to Halo is. As someone who loves story in video games and almost puts it on a higher pedestal than actual gameplay sometimes, I played the beat 'em up Yakuza games. I didn't like playing the beat 'em up Yakuza games. 9 out of 10 times I was like, I have to go beat this guy up. Can we just watch a cutscene? Um, it's absolute blasphemy that I have not paid attention to these cutscenes. So I'm glad you're bringing that up because these are things that I didn't. I still haven't paid attention to.
What's funny is Halo is a game where I actually I pay attention to story in games already, but sometimes I tune out. Halo is one that normally has my focus, and I feel like I know a little more about it than the average person, but also I'm not somebody who's
Randy,
read the books or anything. So
Randy, no matter what we do, we will somehow always be on the
be the
opposite
opposite
sides of
side.
the
Yeah.
spectrum. It's
No,
everything.
I know a little bit about like Halo lore with like the mantle of responsibility and the forerunners and like how the flood, yeah, all that stuff with how that passed on. But
Okay.
it's I don't know, it's kind of weird in in this the way they treat it and Cortana's lines, and she has a lot of extra lines outside of cutscenes that are like tutorials that piss me off when you like find the invis thing and it's like this allows you to go invisible, whatever the fuck she says, and it's like can I play the video
Thanks.
game? Like,
Thanks.
yeah, or they do that stupid thing in Truth and Reconciliation where they're like watch out, the invisible elites are over here, and then they have the fucking red dot on all their head, and you could just see them standing there, and it's like, what is this?
Yeah, I love like unnecessary like things like that. Especially like this isn't as egregious because it's not spoken and told to you. But I just started 007 First Light last week, streaming it with a couple friends, so we didn't get very far. But we were playing it, and I did the intro mission, and it was like, press this button to crouch down in the grass, and like when it came up with that box, it said press select for more info, and my friend Jake was like, "Can you do me a favor and hit that button? Because what the fuck other info could they be giving?" And I opened it up, and it was like, "You move quieter when crouched," and it's like, "Thanks,
Thanks, yeah.
gotcha." I mean, at the very least, it wasn't spoken to me, but
Yeah, it's weird when Cortana does stuff like that in a game where it's like I feel like most people who are buying this have played it before. It might be some people's intro, but like they've at least played a video game probably. This is I don't think this is most people's first video game. You didn't need to do this. I press
yeah,
the button, I see I'm going invis. Oh, okay, thanks. Like I know what this does now.
and it's one of those things like because you brought it up with the cutscene where like Johnson turned around and I think you made the comment specifically that was like people knew who he was already or something, and it's interesting because I think what Halo Studios was in a weird position to do is because this is the first Halo game being put on PlayStation, they were probably stuck in some kind of weird back and forth between okay, this is a remake of an absolute classic that the majority of people have probably played already, whether you're on Xbox or PC, wherever you more than if you're interested in this, you have probably played it already. But we have the problem of also introducing a whole new audience on PS5 that have never had anything but a PlayStation, whose first time is able to
And it
hop
didn't
in
sell
this
that
way.
well on PS5.
I wouldn't have imagined.
Yeah, I
Which
think
is
1%. I think there was a report that said like 1% of PS5 owners bought it.
you know what? Well, I mean that's still a million,
Yeah, it's still like a million, but like it's
but still for
I think it's sold better on Xbox, which how often does that happen?
that's fair. I gotta see that because I didn't see that. Halo campaign of all PS5 sales. Let me see if I can just find anything that you were saying. Really
Yeah.
okay. Well, I mean, again, not that this is great. It's from a Reddit thread, so it's probably coming from somewhere else. But it does say specifically. Oh well. However, engagement tracking from Circana, and I know Circana data is usually pretty accurate, indicates about 1% of active PS5 players on launch day, reflecting a modest initial turnout on Sony's console compared to its robust numbers on Xbox. I don't know if modest was the best word to use there,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay, that's
I
kind of
think
rough.
that's probably in due partly because of if you're a PS5, if you've always been a PlayStation person, you just don't care about Halo. That's part of it.
Right.
But also with the reports that Asha Sharma tried to pull campaign evolved from this
Mhm.
from the system, and then probably isn't going to be doing Halo on PlayStation moving forward, just based on everything else she's doing. Why would I want to try and jump into a series if I know I'm not getting the rest of them?
Totally could be for some people. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's probably part of it. But just to go back to my thoughts on like campaign evolved itself,
Yes.
there are some like weird issues that I'm having with it. I think I told you about the crossplay thing. Apparently, there's a weird bug.
Yeah.
I was trying to play with my friend who's on Xbox, and I'm on like a higher end PC, and so the level loads for me immediately. So if we try to play together, there's a weird bug where I load in, and the game for some reason thinks that because he hasn't loaded in yet, that means he's disconnected, and it just ends the session. And it just
So
kicks
bizarre.
him right out, and it just puts me in a solo campaign, and it's like, what? And then we tried to do it the opposite way where he was hosting, and it did something similar but weird. It didn't do the exact same thing where it kicked me out. It just didn't load for me. I just had a black screen. He loaded in, and then I just didn't move. He's like, it says you're in, and I'm like, well, I can't see
Black
anything. I
screen.
just had black screen. Like, I got nothing.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I'm just playing it legendary solo right now. I will say legendary is still hard. It is probably roughly as hard. I think the AI is worse, and I was telling you about in the first level how the enemies were not dodging grenades. And I think I figured out the reason for that because it's continued, but not as bad. Enemies do dodge grenades and stuff now. I think the reason for that is this is Reach's AI. Reach doesn't have a ton of super enclosed areas. So
Hmm.
like it's a lot more of an outer open, not open, but like the areas are more open in that game than in Combat Evolved. So when I'm in like Pillar of Autumn, which is like super close stuff, and I throw a grenade, they don't really know how to react well to that.
That's
So
fair.
I
That
think
makes
the
sense.
AI isn't just quite as good for this game. It's basically just Reach's AI with a couple of tweaks. And I think they compensated that by just throwing a ton more enemies at you. I've noticed a lot more enemies, especially elites, but just more enemies in general. There's so many more.
That was one thing that me and Nick had noticed probably in the second mission, where we were,
Yeah,
especially in Truth and Reconciliation, where we were like,
that's where for me I was like, holy shit.
oh,
When
because
you're
like
waiting for the thing to load to take you up into the ship, and there's just wave after wave after wave, I was like, what the
now
fuck is going
N-
on?
Now again, I have to reiterate here because I think it's important because there are a lot of enemies in that section initially, and
Yeah,
I cannot stress enough for people that are listening to this that this isn't just a case of like I played Combat Evolved 8 years ago. I played it even just 5 years ago. Like me and Nick regularly play these missions on Legendary. We probably did Truth and Reconciliation on Legendary in the Master Chief Collection within the last month. There is a significant amount of more enemies that they have added into this game at every turn. And it
yeah,
gets to the point where it's like, it's not necessarily harder because we're still blowing through this. It's not harder. It's just, goddamn, where a section would have been like eight grunts, three elites, and four jackals. We now have upwards of 20 grunts, upwards of 12 jackals, and at least 10 elites of the higher ranks. Like not just the regular blue elite, we're seeing the silver elites, we're seeing the gold elites, like multiple in almost every iteration of a firefight that we can see.
yeah.
And it
And
gets to the
like
point where it feels
that
lazy.
one room where you're leaving Silent Cartographer and you're about to like just jump on the Pelican, and there were the
Mm-hmm.
like 6 invis elites
Mm-hmm.
right there. That I was stuck on that in solo for a fucking minute.
That is
That was
fair.
fucking annoying. I had like no ammo. I feel like enemies drop less grenades. I don't know if it's just that I'm throwing more because there's more enemies, or if there's just not as many grenades.
We
But
haven't noticed an issue,
I'm
but
noticing less. Maybe because I'm on solo and I have to. I don't know how they tune things for that.
I was gonna say because there's also probably more enemies in co-op than there is normal. So
Probably. Or yeah, but I think one thing that's probably a lot harder on solo than on co-op is the hunters. Because the hunter AI
hmm
enemy, from what I'm hearing and noticing, enemy AI is less aggressive in this game, in the first place.
yes,
Uh, so I think with hunters specifically, they don't charge nearly as much. And so trying to fight two at once on solo is fucking annoying. Like
yeah, because
that is
you can't get to their back very
yeah,
easily.
if it's not like they're targeting anybody else, they're targeting me. Like,
Yep.
so
Yeah.
hunters are a problem. I did notice they changed the hunters back thing. It's not just a one-shot magnum to the back. They have that like little back plate thing inside them now, which
Yeah.
with the bloom they've added is still a little annoying to hit.
Yeah.
So that's been hunters have been rough, and I'm now noticing just how many there are in this game. I don't think they're really adding more hunters.
They are.
I think. Are they? Okay.
Several. Like so far, we've counted, I believe, at least 2. I think possibly 3 more locations where they added in a pair of hunters that weren't in the original.
Okay. Yeah. So I didn't notice that, but I did notice there was more of them.
Yeah, because like again, me and Nick play these games constantly. We replay these missions over and over again. Like we know who's supposed to be where they are, and there were at least 2 different points that I can pinpoint that they added hunters in that were like, oh shit, didn't know they were there, and just got fucked for a minute. But okay, so I liked what you said because I know you were listening to another review that you'll probably bring up at some point, and I just wanted to bring in this point really quick because I feel like we're going to get to this point where a lot of the reasons that we sound negative on it are very nitpicky. And the reason being is because at the end of the day, as you started your review with, it's combat evolved at the end of the day. No matter what the floor is, it's still combat evolved. As long as it runs and works.
It does, for the most part.
Yeah, then it'll be a fine game.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the negatives, they are going to sound nitpicky.
The thing is, you have to talk about the differences, and most of the differences, I think, are negative.
Yes.
Except for, I think the only positive one I have is the outdoor environments I really like.
They look gorgeous.
The indoor environments are way too shiny, and as you said, Skillup, the review that I'm going to reference, he described the Covenant ones as wet, and yeah, they are. They look fucking wet.
That's actually a skull that makes the entire game slippery.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a light reflects like directly back at you, like there's a flashlight coming off of everything, and it's so fucking shiny. And like to the point where he was talking like Forerunner, the Forerunner one everybody's been talking about with all of the 343 Halos. It's way too shiny, all of the Forerunner architecture. In the Bungie ones, it looked more like brutalist and kind of stone or concrete, which made it have like an ancient but futuristic feel.
Vibe too, yeah.
Where 343 doesn't add to it. It just looks like a futuristic like hallway that you're in. And now the Covenant ones specifically in the Campaign Evolved also look like that. To a weird level. It's very, very shiny. And that was one of the things that he had pointed out was that he showed some clips from Infinite and Forerunner technology, and it looked like they had started to listen a bit. There were some like stone or like concrete kind of brutalist. It wasn't as shiny, at least for the outdoor like sections of Forerunner architecture.
Mm-hmm.
In Campaign Evolved, it's gone again. And it was like, why would you just started to get it. You just started to get it after years of people complaining, and now you're immediately going back to the other one. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it's that. I know he complained about the library as well because it doesn't. And I want to jump off one of his complaints with one of my own. With the AI not being as aggressive, the library feels weird. You're not getting swarmed from different sides because you can take things out from farther range, and they're not really rushing you. And because of that, my complaint: why is the assault rifles so good at medium to long range now? When you ADS, its accuracy is so much better. It is insane how good the assault rifle is now.
That was one of the things that me and Nick noticed right away, especially when we were in Halo, like that first open world mission. We were like, oh, we can actually hit things with the assault rifle. If we lose our pistol, we'll be okay. Like,
yeah, it kind of ruins like the as a lot of people say, the sandbox purity of Halo, because it kind of makes. And they added the SMG, which I wouldn't care about, but why? The assault rifle is just better.
Yeah, we don't need the SMG if you made the assault rifle like this, right?
Yeah.
All such interesting changes. I remember last week you were kind of mentioning that your friend had played some because he had the early access thing, and he had mentioned that they like changed the layout of some of these missions, like assault on the control room, removed some of the things. Yeah. They also removed some very strange sections, like not outright, like the Truth and Reconciliation, the ship.
They added some to that too.
They reformatted some of the rooms. So instead of just like hallway after hallway after hallway after hallway, they made a hallway into a room that took the place of 2 hallways. into the room that you're supposed to go to. So it's easier to not get lost because you're like, oh, I have a landmark that looks different that I know I need to pass.
They also added waypoints. Who the fuck cares about getting lost?
That is true. That's very true. I think one of the weird things, because we didn't notice much different about Pillar of Autumn, the first mission in particular. We didn't really notice any big differences, anything that jumped out.
I don't remember anything.
The first thing that jumped out to us was in Halo when you get the Warthog and you're driving through the first the structure underneath. He was like Nick was mentioning, he was like, I'm pretty sure there's a terminal underneath where the jump is, because you go off a ramp with the Warthog and then you land on the other side and then you leave it. Completely removed that. So now we're looking at it, we're like, oh, I guess they did move some of the terminal locations. Maybe some of the skull locations are moved. We didn't jump into all that stuff yet. We're going to beat the campaign, then do cleanup for terminals and skulls. And obviously this is a review so far, so we will be talking about it again at some point down the line with all the remixes, skulls, everything else. But I echo pretty much everything you're saying. The enemy AI is different. They're not as aggressive. So because of that, certain enemy types are easier, certain ones aren't. Like you said, with even the hunters, we're getting messed up a little bit more with the hunters because they're not charging as much. We're not hitting their backs as easy. And that's fine. I'm not asking it to be easier, but it's just an interesting change that I wasn't expecting to be at.
I think the only thing on just to go back to Pillar of Autumn real quick, I think the only thing I noticed that was really different on Pillar of Autumn, they added some dialogue to that first cutscene with keys.
Oh, man, a cutscene I've never watched in my life.
Yeah,
but okay, yeah, totally fair.
Speaking of actually the cutscene thing, really quick, one of the things that on top of what I was saying earlier with some of the directing feeling amateurish, it's kind of a similar thing with that. One Skill Up pointed out that there were some cutscenes that I'm blanking on the exact one he was talking about. It might have been on Truth and Reconciliation. They didn't change a single thing dialogue-wise. Nothing was added, nothing was removed. It is all the exact same dialogue as in the original cutscene. Yet for some reason, there's awkward pauses after they finish sentences and just movements and stuff that aren't in there originally, which make the cutscene take quite literally just about twice as long in Campaign Evolved, even though it's the exact same thing being said.
Interesting. Huh. That's so bizarre.
Yeah.
Goddamn. Yeah, no, I have no idea. We're playing on Legendary as well. Really, my main complaint that's bothering me, because again, enemy AI being different, it is what it is. It's not, it's a nitpick, but it's not something that's really taking away from my enjoyment of this game. I think the only thing that I'm really not loving is the insane amount of enemies that were thrown into this game.
Yeah.
To the point where
have
it's
you noticed... Oh, go on.
No, go for it.
Have you noticed the bullet magnetism with the pistol?
Bro, I was going to bring that up because okay.
They said they patched it, didn't they?
I don't know.
They fucking didn't. If they said they did, they didn't.
So the only complaint that I have, and this is something with me personally, like I said, play Halo constantly. Doesn't matter what game I'm playing. The worst enemy type, the absolute bane of my existence in Halo, are jackals. I can never break through the shields because I always seem to miss their hand. I
don't have a problem with it. In most of the games, I'm fucking good. The thing is,
but I'm fine most of the time.
Yeah,
that was the running joke. Oh shit, it's not hunters are fine, brutes are fine, elites are fine. Doesn't matter if it's a jackal, I'm fucked. That's the running joke. But I was screaming to Nick. I was like, I just put a whole fucking mag into this jackal's hand, and he didn't react a single time. And Nick is and he just kind of passed it off as well, you're probably just missing
it's not you.
Do. And I'm like, I promise it's not. And then he came across that whole thread of oh no, this seems to be a problem. And I'm like, I fucking told you.
Yeah, so, no, because it tries to magnetize to their heads, but since they have the shield, it just hits the shield and doesn't do anything. They said they fixed it. It might be a little better now. Or there was another one they said they fixed with the charged up plasma shot, just one-shotting through shields on Legendary. They didn't fix that either. I'm still getting one shot, and I can't hear it. I can't fucking hear the. Why can I not hear it? At least I can.
That gives me so much validation with you saying that too, because the other thing I said to Nick in the middle of the second mission was why do plasma pistols against me feel so unbelievably strong? And he was like, I don't know, maybe just have no health. I'm like, Nick, I swear I know what I'm talking about. Please listen to me. Okay, that's good to know.
No, they said they fixed that because that was even worse. I think when the game first launched, and they said they fixed it. I half notice it being a little better, but
Okay.
like you can like full health get one shot by a charged plasma shot, and
That should not be the
that's not
case.
right. Yeah.
No, that's
And you can't,
ridiculous.
there's something weird with the audio too. If they're at like a distance, you're not hearing it
He-
charge at all.
Yep.
It
Yeah.
might be, maybe it's not the audio, maybe it's just the amount of enemies. There's more shots going off and you're not noticing it then. But
Mhm.
regardless, I'm not hearing it. So it's
Right.
like, it's still a problem.
Yeah. Um, I'm trying to think of like other points to bring up because I don't think I have any other like negatives to this. Um, I mean the positives are that it's still combat evolved. You know,
Yep.
it's still a fun campaign. You know what? Here's one thing because this is something we brought up on the last podcast talking about it. How do you feel about sprint?
Oh, it didn't affect anything.
Yes, which is
Yeah.
the best case scenario for it. Because I remember us discussing it and being like, the bad thing could be if they add sprint, but then make the levels bigger or longer to accommodate for having it. I feel like it is implemented in a perfect way where you don't have to use it if you don't want to, but it's there if you'd like to, and it didn't
Yeah.
change any of the layout, so it doesn't
Yeah,
feel
and I think
catered towards it.
it was weird with other Halo games because they implemented it in such a strange way in other Halo campaigns where like 4 it was like it was a requirement. Like you needed to use it, and
Mhm.
it kind of felt overpowered in 4, especially in multiplayer. 5, at least they nerfed the fact that your shields wouldn't recharge if you were sprinting. Infinite was weird because there was kind of no point in having sprint. Sprint makes you move 12% faster in Halo Infinite, and then doesn't really have many other downsides. So at that point, why not just buff the movement speed? But
Right.
like, all right, it's fine, I guess. And then in this one, I think it's kind of a similar thing, except it feels more. I mean, it's a campaign only, so at that point, balance is like as long as the game's fun.
Right.
But like, yeah, it's fine. It
Yeah.
doesn't ruin the levels. I know people. I saw some people complaining about how you could just run right past some enemies. You could do that anyway. It didn't really change anything that way in
Yeah,
that
no.
regard.
And again, I think that's still more of like the enemy AI as opposed to
Yeah,
actual sprint. It
yeah,
probably
yeah.
just
It's
helps
the
the
enemy
pace.
AI, if anything, and then also like in actual combat evolved, you could just run past a lot of enemies. Like it doesn't
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
100%. Um, I'm trying to think. Are there other like metrics to hit here?
I
Again,
don't
because
like the skins. I think the skins are stupid.
I haven't even looked at them. I don't
Yeah,
care. That's so crazy.
it's dumb. I don't why do it. I guess that's probably why they added third person so that you could see your
Yeah. Okay.
skins.
Oh my God. Yeah, that makes sense, huh? Yep. That's fair. This is one of those
Oh,
games again where
here's
like I'm
what.
gonna look. Shut up.
Okay.
Shut up. Give me 2 seconds. I was gonna say this is another game where obviously I'm gonna like look at all the achievements and stuff, and I see that the lasso, completing lasso, is another achievement, and I said to Nick right away, I'm like, there's just no shot. There's no
If you
shot.
guys try it, I might be down. So let me
All
know.
right, you know what? That might help because again, what kills us for Halo One Lasso in the Master Chief Collection? Because again, we did 3 Reach and ODST with like Reach and ODST virtually no trouble. We did 3 with 3 people, and I think the amount of enemies tweaked it to a more difficult degree. But
Hmm.
like Reach and ODST were like borderline simple to us for Lasso. We made our way through it pretty well. Halo
I
One,
don't think Reach's legendary is bad. I think it's pretty easy,
no,
honestly.
yes, comparatively for sure.
Yeah.
Halo One's Lasso, the reason it feels so impossible is that one skill in particular that makes it that you can't pick up Covenant weapons. So it limits you completely to UNSC weapons, which there are very little of in the original. And that was also another change that I was going to mention. There are
They did add
way
more like ammo packs and like things like that around. Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
don't know how I feel about the health pack change though.
what about it?
There isn't health packs, it's just recharging health, but like it takes a
Hmm.
long time.
Was that
It feels
so? Actually,
weird.
here's a question: was it like that in the OG? Like with the health packs, was the like how they had it in Anniversary? Was that how it was in the
Yeah,
OG?
yeah.
Okay,
I don't remember if they
interesting.
had the exact same number or not, but I'm pretty sure they do.
Right. Okay.
And yeah, it was health packs. It wasn't recharging health.
Okay.
Um, but
Because when
yeah,
did they stop? When did they stop doing? Because like they didn't do health packs in 2 or 3. I think they did health packs on ODST in a
they did it
weird
in
way. Not.
Reach.
Oh yeah, and Reach too.
Yeah.
So I think ODST and Reach had the med kits. I think ODST did. I'm really struggling to remember that now. which
ODST
is so
did.
weird.
I
Okay.
actually today just started a playthrough of a Legendary ODST with one of my friends. So
Oh hell yeah.
the same one who had played Campaign Evolved. Yes, it does have health packs.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, totally fair. Again, like a big change that they're trying to make in the remake that some people will look at and be like, I don't know if I like that. Totally fair. Um,
Yeah. One of the things that I did want to talk about that I don't like, and it's not really a change, it's just a decision that I don't like. Uh,
okay.
I don't like how the third person thing is a skull.
Okay.
Because I wanted to try it out, and it's like, all right, well, I don't have the skull, so now it's just a new feature you've added for this, and I have to find something to try it and look it up later. I'm assuming because I don't know where it is. So it's
Mm.
like,
That's one of those things where like I'm like I actually kind of prefer that because like that makes it feel old school because that is one of the things that people really like. Like that was one thing. Halo Infinite had skulls. I don't remember what they unlocked. Do you know what they unlocked?
no, I
Were
actually
they?
want to do a Halo Infinite playthrough again. Just first of all to do it co-op, second of all to remind myself about that campaign because I don't fucking remember anything.
Ah,
So
count me out. I will never. I actually told Nick the other day because he was also like, I think we should do another legendary playthrough of Halo. I think you'd like it better the second time. And I'm like, that is never touching my console again.
hey, if Nick, I'll do it with Nick. Yeah,
I'll patch you through
yeah.
because I ain't touching that shit. Um, but like, what
Let's
I
do it on
really
stream and
loved.
just hate play it.
No, I already did the first one on stream and I did hate play it. It was awful, disgusting. Um, I just like that there's a reason to collect them as opposed to just a collectible in the game. I totally understand the reason because, like you said, like as opposed to like a feature like there's a skull called the floor is lava where you're just always taking damage if you're touching the ground. Now that's very interesting. Whereas this skull is a feature to play in third person, it feels a little rougher to lock behind a skull. But personally, I kind of like that there's a reason to collect the skull.
I like there's a reason to collect it, but the thing is with third person, it's one of those I want to just check it out and just see what it is, and I'd probably go back to first person and not really touch it more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
But now you
to
have that
then to
extra
lock it,
step to just
it's yeah, just to see it, like
yeah.
it's
Especially when
annoying.
you have so many games like Fallout or Skyrim or something where all like it's
Or even
click of a button.
yeah, even the anniversary thing, the anniversary edition, you could switch between old and new graphics, click of a button.
Yeah, true.
And now you've added a new thing for this version, and I can't do that. So
That's
it's
true.
weird.
Yeah, honestly, I'm actually because there were skulls in the anniversary edition. Was there a skull for something relating to the music? Shit, dude, I
I
can't
don't
remember.
know. I don't really like ever hunt skulls in these games, so
Mm. That is something I'm very curious about because by the time I got to Halo and like actually playing it, it was in Reach, and I don't think Reach had skulls that you could find. Did Halo
wow,
Reach?
I don't remember. And it's weird
Halo,
too with the Master Chief Collection because I think that changed some things about it.
was gonna say I'm just looking up Halo Reach skull locations because if there's a video, yeah, no, okay, they're all standard skulls are unlocked and available from the main menu right from the start, which I didn't like. I wanted them to be collectible because that was one thing that I really loved about it. But by the time I got into Halo with Reach, all of the games with skulls that you could find were already found and had guides, and my friends kind of knew where they were, so I didn't have a
Yeah,
game
that
where
was
I
like
could
trying
really
to do
search for them.
Taskmaster on Halo 3.
Yeah, true. God damn, dude, those challenges, those are so much fun. So
Yep.
brutal though. So
I kind of
brutal.
want to do like a whole like series playthrough. That would be
Like,
like just
okay,
from 1 to infinite. That would take a while. Probably not
man.
that long.
Well, you know what I was gonna suggest this. I was like, dude, I love Halo, and even if it's just in the Master Chief collection, like if we throw the difficulty to heroic or something or legendary, like I'd be down for either. We
I'd do
could totally
legendary, yeah.
do we could totally do a marathon stream and see how far we can get
Yeah.
in one sitting. I would be so down for that.
If you want to do that, I'm probably going to take a week off of work around my birthday in September. I could probably do like a marathon stream like that of
I'm just saying. Listen, if we
yeah.
don't hit Final Fantasy 14 before then, that'll be the debut
Yeah.
stick drift stream. That'll be really fun. I'm so in for that. 110%. All right. We'll plan that.
Hell
We'll
yeah.
get that set. But yeah, no, I think my closing thoughts on this so far, because again, I'm only halfway through the campaign. I didn't play the prequel missions. I didn't do anything with the remix stuff. So there's still a lot more that I'll be talking about within the next week or two when I hit it. I think this is fine. Like if
Yeah.
someone were to ask me, be like, hey, I have an Xbox, I have Game Pass, I see there's Halo Campaign Evolved, and I see that there's the Master Chief Collection. Which do I play? I think my first thing is going to be saying probably the Master Chief Collection. However, if you like pretty cutscenes and you like very good graphics and you want to play it with more than 2 people,
That's a big one, yeah.
Campaign Evolved. I think that's probably the big takeaway for that it brings back the 4-player co-op kind of thing. Also, really quick, just because
it brings back, but the first one never had it to begin with.
Right. I just meant like for future Halo things, because Halos 1 and 2 were the only ones that you couldn't play 4-player. So Halo 2 is now the only one that you cannot play 4-player. So that's why, like, I'm crossing my fingers that we do get a Halo 2 remake still, if for no other reason than just to make that available.
Yeah.
I would love that.
If we did if we did the full, like, all the way through, like, marathon playthrough, would you want to do the original versions or like any other, like the Halo 2 anniversary or one of the other 2 versions for Campaign Evolved, Combat Evolved, like anniversary?
Honestly, like, the way I see it is it probably just boot up Master Chief Collection and just run through them that way.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Of course, if you have preferences, I don't think I care that hard.
No, I was thinking like it might be kind of cool to do the original versions, but like it's Master Chief Collection then anyway.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But yeah, so we'll plan that out. I think that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I think the big thing is just having the 4-player stuff, and I don't even. So, being that you're on PC even, and you know, I know you live with your girlfriend who probably is not an avid Halo player.
No,
you haven't played split screen local or anything, right?
No.
So funny enough, so again, you guys know I talk about it every once in a while. I stream on Twitch, and one stream a week that I do is with my friend Amber, and we call it like Amber's Gaming Corner. And she just plays The Sims and Pokemon, and she got really into Persona. So I was like, oh, let me show you this game then, and this game, and it became like a series of like, check this game out, see if you get into it, and it's just fun for viewers because it's like someone who knows nothing about like a lot of games is coming in and just trying this shit out.
Yeah.
And she saw Halo Campaign Evolved, and she was like, we should do a mission just to fuck around. And let me tell you, I jumped in on split screen. Oh boy.
Bad?
Oh, it wasn't that bad, but there was a difference that you could tell. And again, like, I'm very sensitive to the.
I will say, I think. Okay.
We've done this so many times. We are usually so good at this.
We have a lot to say right now.
Apparently, yeah. I'll finish my point real fast. Because I'm pretty sensitive to the whole performance versus like graphics mode now, where like if I boot up a game and it doesn't boot up on performance, if I open that game and it's on graphics, I throw up with like how bad it feels to get down to that moment, and then I put it on performance and it's like, oh, I can breathe again. It feels so much smoother. Yeah. And I feel like the frame rate definitely took a dip on it, not significantly, but enough that I was able to notice. And you know, again, it's still fine. If you played, like, I'd be curious to see. Can you do split screen 4-player, like local co-op? I actually don't know. I know it's 4-player, but I wonder if it's local. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. And if you've done it, let me know how it runs. But yeah, it definitely took a dip. What were you going to say though?
I was going to say, I think the thing is that always probably happened, but when we were kids, we didn't notice.
I mean, that's true too.
Because when you're playing local, it has to run the entire game 2 times, basically, at a different aspect ratio, so not quite the exact same, but...
Right, but it's using more power.
2 instances of the game, yeah. So yeah, I was going to say that, and also I feel vindicated now too, with you saying that with like the performance, whatever, because I remember when I had like a couple of months after I got a PC, and I got used to playing at like higher frame rates, and I remember I had like discussed something with you about, I forget what game it was. I don't remember now, but you were like saying like, it's fine at this. I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I don't know, man. I'm going fucking crazy. Like I can't do it anymore.
No, it really is. When you're not, and it's like, it's so funny because like I still have friends that don't, you know, that don't see it as much. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking. Like when you're not, it's one of those things where like, it almost sucks that I got used to it looking better, because now when it looks worse, I do notice it. And I'm like, yeah, man, ignorance is bliss. But also when games play well, and that's way nicer.
Yeah. And when I'm playing, like, especially with like a high-end PC, and like a lot of the games that I'm playing run around 120 FPS is where I lock it at, and then I go to like a console and it's 60 to 30, and I'm like,
yep, that's fair. Yeah, you're gonna have a fun time with GTA 6, I bet. Jesus Christ, we'll see about that one. But I think any closing thoughts on this so far? I think I
No,
think I hit most
I'm
of
kind of
everything I
worried
need.
about the future of Halo, honestly, with the what I've heard from the new missions. I haven't played them yet, but I have seen some
Yeah.
things that are just not great. Like, it's just, especially with like the level design just not being good on them, and like the weird, like, you know how I
Mm.
was saying with like the shininess of like, and the shininess and wetness of like Covenant stuff. That was one thing that Skill Up showed off with it, where he was like, look at this mission here, and it was like, this is their opportunity to show what they can do now as a studio on their level design, because they last time it was Halo Infinite and it really didn't have levels,
Right.
and it was just another Covenant like interior. And he's like, but instead of it being purple and like blue, it's white and gold. And then you walk through a door, and with no transition whatsoever, bam, purple again. And it's like, why is it? Who would design an area like this? It just looks exactly
Interesting.
the same, but now white and gold. And then you walk through a door, and it's hard purple, blue, and black. And it's, what changed between these two rooms? Why are they so different? Why is there no like design? Like, there's no coherence here. There's no
Well,
cohesiveness.
you're gonna have to talk to the architect about that one.
Yeah, really.
The interior designer had some interesting choices,
Yeah,
and sometimes you
it's
just got to
interesting.
go with it. Trust your gut. But yeah, so we'll revisit this for sure. I'm
Yes.
sure probably not next week because we'll probably take a break from in between. I'm sure I'll have it done by next week, but give it time to sit. We'll probably do. I'm sure there will be some kind of news next week that we can talk about. Otherwise, we do have some topics that we are mulling around. But probably in 2 weeks we'll get back and we'll review the rest of the game and talk about the prequel missions and where that's going to go. Because I don't have a lot of faith in where Halo's going already,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that the prequel missions won't help me, but we'll see. So anyone checking this out, thank you for being here. We always appreciate it. We have some plans to do a really cool marathon stream. We're still going to try and hit the Final Fantasy 14 stuff, and we're figuring out what to do for short form stuff. We'll be pulling stuff into the podcast, and hopefully some other stuff that we're going to be figuring out.
And Sean's gonna get caught up on 14 before Evercold comes out, so we can do an Evercold stream on launch.
Damn it! And when's that? That's 2027,
February?
right? That's
I don't know.
reasonable.
I don't know if they have. I don't know if they have a month yet or not.
A date.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Let's
it's
see.
definitely early 2027.
That's doable. That's doable.
January. All right.
All right, that's a little less doable, but
Yeah.
that's doable. That's 5 months. It's August 1st. That's 5 months. That's fair.
I have on this one playthrough of Final Fantasy 14, because I had made multiple characters. I don't remember if I made this one before it was Steam. We're gonna say I did, just for the sake of, we're gonna give myself the benefit of the doubt here and say 217 hours, and I'm not done with Dawn Trail.
Okay. Okay. Let's do some quick math, right? I just have a calculator here. 217 divided by 24. That's 9 days. Okay? It's August 1st. I haven't so in 9 days it'll be August 10th, okay? I've got time. Oh my god. I'm interested though. Like I said, I've always been interested in Final Fantasy 14. It's just we've said it before. It's so hard
It is.
it's so hard for most people. It's so hard to have more than one dedicated MMO. And mine has always been RuneScape. I look at others and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. But I don't have room in my head to remember anything. Which then happens when I take that break and then I come back to it. I can't even remember my fucking login. And they don't make it easy to log back in. So I lose all of my shit. I've played the beginning of this game 5 times.
Hey, you still never finished this base, A Realm Reborn.
No, I'm tired of this, Grandpa. But we'll plan that out.
Bad.
Everyone? I'm ending it there.
Sounds good.